Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome along to Arsenal Fan TV, and in this video I'm going to be previewing our upcoming fixture against Swansea away. Now, we go into this game I think with a real point to prove. We're going into it on the back of that really disappointing 3-3 draw against Anderlecht, where we conceded three what I would regard as really lacklustre goals in the latter stages of that game. I think we've really got to prove a point in this one. I think we've not just got to get the win, but I think we've got to put in a really convincing performance. And Swansea away is always a fixture that I look at as one of the most difficult games of the season. Ever since Swansea have come up to the Premier League, they have looked like such a sturdy outfit. And of course, under Michael Laudrup, they were a fantastic outfit. Things didn't work out in the end of him, and now they've got Gary Monk as their manager, who I've got to say, I've got a lot of respect for Gary Monk. He is one of the most honest, simplistic managers in the league. I really like that approach he's got to the game. They've picked up some fantastic results this season, and you could argue that they're maybe on a little bit of a blip of form at the moment. I don't like to think of it as that. For Swansea, I think they're doing really well. And Gary Monk's certainly got a great assembly at his disposal, and some of the players that they've got, they are a very sturdy team, and someone that we've certainly got to take seriously going into this game. We can't underestimate them by any means. I mean, looking at some of the players they've got in their squad, the likes of Gylfi Sigurdsson, who they brought back from Tottenham Hotspur, is just working absolute wonders there. And his link-up play with Wilfried Bony, who scored against us last season, I mean, these are fantastic players, and it's going to be really hard for us to stop them with the frailties in defence we've got, and that concerns me. How easily we were rolled over by Anderlecht in that last half an hour of the game, where they put so much pressure on us, and they cut through us so easily, and that wasn't even the problem when we were 3-0 up. I mean, there were problems against Anderlecht when it was still 0-0. I mean, even though we put 3 goals past them, it still wasn't overly convincing, and there were times when they could have scored when it was 0-0, and we could have gone 1 or 2-0 down. It was, they just cut through us so easily. I think there are quite a few defensive changes that we've got to make going into this game, but I'll get into that a bit later. Looking at analysing the Swansea players first of all, like I said, Sigurdsson and Bony, they're both class players, but one player that I actually really hate coming up against whenever we play Swansea is Nathan Dyer. This guy's got a really low centre of gravity, incredibly pacey, direct, and a good finisher as well. He's always caused us trouble when we played against him, and I just worry, like, this kind of player, he's the perfect kind of person to really expose the frailties that we've got in defence at the moment. Someone like that is actually absolutely going to tear past someone like Monreal and Mertesacker at the moment, given the way they played against Anderlecht. So that certainly is a cause for concern. But looking at Arsenal going into this one, I mean, the one positive we can take is that Jack Wilshere is coming back into the team, which is a huge bonus for us. I think we've really missed that driving force between the defence and attack going into this game, and of course I think it's something that's become more and more evident with recent fixtures that we've missed Jack Wilshere quite a bit. And I'd actually like to see him occupy the number 10 role ahead of Santi Cazorla for this one, because Cazorla's certainly not someone that has made an impact in the games that we've played recently, and in fact you could argue that he's been playing pretty poorly. I think it's only fair that he's dropped for someone like Jack Wilshere, who you know is going to make an impact on the game, and is going to make himself, he's going to make his presence known on the pitch, and I think his best performances this season have come when he's played in the number 10 role. And other players I think have really got to step up to the benchmark in this one. Certainly Aaron Ramsey, he looked so focused on scoring in that game against Anderlecht, and he, like I said in the review of that game, sometimes his defensive ability, because you know he can defend, and you mean we've seen in the past he's made some excellent tackles for us and he tracks back really well, but I think ever since he had that great season last term, which I'm hoping he can emulate, I'm really hoping he can, but then again you'd like him to focus on the defensive his defensive part of the game, which you could say eluded him at times in the game against Anderlecht. I really want him to focus a bit more on that, and I think that would just be massively beneficial to the team, because sometimes they got the better of him trying to get on the score sheet against Anderlecht, and I'm hoping that they won't get the better of him in this game against Swansea, because we're going to really need him in this one. And you'd hope, considering it's against his ex-club's arch rivals, you would think he'd be really fired up for this game. So hopefully he'll put in a good performance this one. Of course, he scored there last season, so he should have happy memories of this game. And like I said, hopefully he'll put in a good shift in this one. Looking at the Arsenal team that I actually want to see start this game, I'm going to go with Szczesny in goal, Bellerin at right back, Chambers, Mertesacker, Kieran Gibbs, Flamini, Ramsey, Chamberlain, Wilshere, Sanchez and Danny Welbeck up top. I certainly think that's a team that could go to this game, and I would hope that it would be able to put in a convincing performance. I think there are things in there that have to be changed. I also think at some point in this game, we should include Joel Campbell in there somewhere. He has been absent in the past 2 games for us. He didn't even feature against Burnley. He didn't feature against Anderlecht. Where's he gone? Suddenly Yaya Sanogo comes back and he's pushed Campbell out of the whole lineup of things. It's ridiculous how he's just been brushed to one side. I don't think it's fair on him. I don't know how many times I have to say he had a class World Cup and he deserves to be part of this Arsenal setup at the moment. So I think it's only fair that maybe if we're winning this game 2 or 3-0, which I think is going to be very difficult for us, if he could get some minutes on the pitch in this one. Theo Walcott is of course another player that has every case to start this game, but I think considering that he's going on international duty in a couple of weeks, and I think considering Chamberlain had such a good game against Anderlecht, he was certainly one of the more positive players that we can look at in that game. He doesn't really deserve to be dropped going into this game, and although I would love to see Theo Walcott feature in this, I just think we've got to ease him back into it. I'd love to see him get at least 20-25 minutes in the game, and then hopefully we can start him against United, where I think we're really going to need him. And you would hope that Wenger would bring him on in the latter stage of this game. I mean, you've got to say, in the game in midweek against Anderlecht, I'm referring to this game quite a bit now, but there are a lot of negatives as well with that, as well as some of the positives I've already mentioned. But not bringing Theo Walcott on and bringing on Rosicky and Podolski, although I adore both of those players, you would think that Walcott would certainly have been the more feasible substitution at the time. He's someone that's going to track back, he's got loads of pace about him, and you'd hope that he would be able to defend to a good extent against, as if we're trying to hold out in a 1-goal lead like we were trying to do against Anderlecht. And substitutions is something that I think Wenger's got to really get on point in this game, and I'm hoping he will. So I would like to say I'm really optimistic going into this game, but given how we played against Anderlecht, it's really hard for me to actually predict an Arsenal winning this one. And it's away as well, and Swansea are a class outfit, and Swansea are definitely, you've got to say, a better team than Anderlecht at the moment. But I'm going to predict a 2-1 win. I think a player that we're really going to miss in this one is Mikel Arteta. We lacked his leadership qualities in the game against Anderlecht, of course, when he hobbled off the pitch, and I think he's going to be a bit of a massive blow when he's not featuring for us. I think love or hate the guy, he is a true leader for us, and I just can't wait for him to be back, if I'm honest with you, because Flamini, I've said it a couple of times now, past his sell-by date. In other news as well, Wenger said that Olivier Giroud is coming back into the frame of things, and he's set to resume training next week, which is a huge bonus for us. I certainly think that we're missing his hold-up ability at the top end of the pitch. And I think one player that we really desperately need back, of course, is blatantly obvious, Laurent Koscielny. Wenger said when he initially got injured that he'd be back after the international break. Then now there's only a chance that he's going to be back after the international break. I mean, is he going to be back or not? Because we are going to need this guy against Manchester United. I mean, God help us if we're going into that game against United and we're having to play a Monreal and Mertesacker, defensive partnership. That's not going to do us any favours against the likes of Falcao and Di Maria. So you've got to hope that Koscielny's back for that one. But anyway, guys, those have been my thoughts on the upcoming game against Swansea. Hopefully we can get a win and a convincing performance. Predicting a 2-1 win for this one. Get your predictions in the comments box below. Subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV. Check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game. And as always, thank you for watching, guys.